Hello there. This is Gimpy's History Corner. This is going to be a special video based on several famous artists, which I have reproductions hanging in my house. The first one is Vincent van Gogh, born March 30th, 1853, in Zundert, Netherlands. His father was Theodorus van Gogh, the minister. His mother was Anna Cornelia Carbentus, and he had 5 siblings. His education was fragmented. He began working at an art studio in The Hague at age 16. He started painting in 1881 using somber, dark tones, the most famous of which is the Potato Eaters. He moved to Paris in 1886, stayed there for 2 years, met with Impressionists, and adopted a brighter palette. His big move, however, was to the south of France in 1888 and lived in a town called Arles with Paul Gauguin, another famous artist, who Vincent's brother Theo had paid to stay with Vincent and maybe develop some sort of partnership. However, that soured, but during that time is when Vincent painted these sunflowers, which I think are awesome. Vincent's mental struggles were famous, psychotic episodes where he and Gauguin would fight and scream at each other, and Gauguin left. Vincent cut off his ear, took it to a prostitute's dwelling. Crazy episode. He admitted himself into an asylum at Saint Remy, stayed there for 70 days and did 70 works. Some of his works are equally famous. Starry, Starry Night is one of them. This is out the window of the asylum. I love the Starry, Starry Night. The other one I have is the Lights in the Harbor. Starry nights over the harbor. I love his use of the stars and the shadows of the light, reflection of the light on the water. Awesome. So Vincent died of gunshot wounds on July 29th, 1890. I think he was shot by some local teenagers, but he took the blame, said he shot himself at age 37. He died young. Vincent van Gogh, probably my famous artists. Okay, the next one is on this other wall. And this is M.C. Escher. Some of the glare off of it there. Very unusual painting with the lizards crawling out of the paper, breaking the plane, crawling across the books, and turning back into drawings on the paper again. M.C. Escher, his full name is Moritz Cornelius Escher, lived from 1898 to 1972. He was born on June 17th, 1898 in Leeuwarden, Netherlands. So here's another Dutch artist. He was a student of architecture and decorative arts, switched to graphic arts. He was the youngest of 5 children, or 5 sons actually. His father was an engineer. His early works were on Italian landscapes in the 1920s and 30s. He married Jetta and lived in Rome. He had mathematical inspiration, used geometry a lot in his works. impossible construction, paradoxical architecture, and tessellations. I remember my art teachers doing MC Escher tessellations in art class. It's very famous. There are repeating patterns that morph into animals. Just like this one morphs into a live lizard from the page and back into, from live lizards back into printed lizards. Those are tessellations on that page on this picture. He went unrecognized for most of his career. Late recognition, most of it late in his life. His first exhibition came in 1970, and he died in 1972. His influence was inspired mathematicians, architects, and pop culture. And actually, during the 70s, guys like Graham Nash and the Moody Blues, not the Moody Blues, I can't think of their names. The English group used a lot of his influences for their album covers. He died in 1972 at age 73. M.C. Escher. Awesome. Okay, going across the room, my next famous author is Edward Hopper. I made the frame for this reproduction. Born July 22nd, 1882 in Nyack, New York. Studied at the New York School of Art and Design, and early in his career he was an illustrator. His movement was American Realism. Signature style is stark lighting and shadows. Notice the shadows in this picture, and the stark lighting inside the diner. Urban and rural scenes. Themes of loneliness, stillness, and introspection. Notice how these people aren't doing much talking. He's most famous for this picture, which is called Nighthawks, which he painted in 1942, based on a diner near his studio in Greenwich Village. 3 Washington Square was the address of his studio in Greenwich Village, the top floor. He focused on the loneliness of the large city and urban alienation. His wife was Josephine Nevision, who was a model. The lady in this picture, right there, that's his wife. She is in most of his paintings. And he died at age 84 in 1967. Edward Hopper. This is called Nighthawks. Okay, last one is in my bedroom. And it is Norman Rockwell. Born 1894 in New York City. Attended Chase Art School at age 14 and National Academy of Design. Big career move was to get to do the cover pages for the Saturday Evening Post. He did 332 covers from 1916 to 1963. His most famous are Rosie the Riveter and the Four Freedoms in 1943, and The Problem We All Live With in 1964. His themes are family, community, patriotism, social justice, and later in his life, civil rights and political issues. His style is American realism with narrative twist, and his method was he would stage scenes with live models in his studio and then photograph them and paint them from the photographs. His most famous studio was in Stockbridge, Massachusetts, and that studio is now a museum. He died in 1978, age 84. Norman Rockwell, one of the greatest American painters. This is a picture of a man trying to be a golfer, and his young caddy is saying, uh-oh, this is not going to go good. My son Scott and I like to play golf, and I bought this in honor of my son Scott, who's a great golfer. And I'm more like this guy. Okay, thank you. I wanted to show you my famous artists I have in my house. I have a lot more pictures around, but they're too small to show you. Have a great day.